Hollywood's months of labor unrest have come to an end, but the post-strike landscape that awaits actors and writers may be far from happily ever after. Now people are turning their side hustles into careers, leaving the business or packing up and moving out of Hollywood altogether.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now!
The fight was long and hard. The unions in Hollywood walking away with a boost in minimum pay and protections over the use of AI. The protracted work stoppage that began in May when the Writers Guild hit the picket lines gathered more force when the Screen Actors Guild walked out in mid-July.
The strikes were historic in their length and cost, causing an estimated $6 billion in economic loss, according to the Milken Institute, and leaving hundreds of thousands out of work.
Do you think the strike was worth it?
It's really hard to say. I think it was worth it because I think if we don't have labor and unions and are fairly paid, we don't have a middle class. But I think that there's so much of our industry is run by huge conglomerates and billionaires that really don't care about us, and that they're willing to take whatever to Canada and work non-union. And I think, I'm always going to be a union girl. Did we pay a price? Is Hollywood paying a price for that? Yeah, but I still think we did the right thing.
Chloe King is one of the writers who swapped picket lines for meetings and submissions once again, but is returning to an industry still in the midst of a painful transformation, a streaming upheaval, and still reeling from the pandemic and a tax break exodus away from Hollywood.
I know so many people who are struggling, and they're doing what I'm doing. They're trying to find a way to make money with their passion and control it, but it's not so easy. Are those the Hayward Hopper glasses?
When the work dried up, she turned her passion for collecting into income.
Hi, how are you?
Starting Chloe Collects, where she sells treasures she finds at estate sales.
Bye, guys.
One of so many who, out of necessity, exhaustion, or just the start of a new era, had to pivot.
I've collected my whole life, and then during the strikes, I just sort of said, I've got to have some sort of side hustle to compensate for things like the strike, for things like Hollywood kind of disappearing, or at least in LA. And I decided to parlay my collecting obsession.
The industry here is increasingly on life support, and it needs a pattern interrupt. We need a jolt.
Last month, Governor Gavin Newsom announced that he's seeking to double film and television incentives to $750 million a year to stop the flight of studio projects, even as productions continue to flee to places like New Mexico, Georgia, Canada, and Europe.
Unfortunately, it's pretty bleak out there.
Elaine Lowe reports on the industry for The Ankler and has been covering the contraction in Hollywood since even before the strikes.
We're coming down from this era of 600 scripted TV shows that were on the air, about peak TV as they call it, and it's just been tough to adjust to the new normal, and the industry really just isn't sure what that new normal is.
Unscripted was new, it was exciting.
Patrick Caliguri is one of those people, a writer-producer who mostly works on reality TV.
I'm talking to people who were my mentors, who were the people that were always working in the industry, the people that always had the jobs and had a finger on the pulse. And they're telling me, I'm doing DoorDash right now. One other producer I worked with said he won an Emmy while delivering Uber Eats. And some said that they were getting in such dire financial straits, they were selling off their grandmother's inherited jewelry or dipping into their kids' college funds.
The entertainment industry is seriously broken.
Friends and collaborators are working less to the point where they're not working at all.
He posted this video, a compilation of desperate, out-of-work entertainment industry professionals last month.
We're all storytellers, and that's what we want to do, and we want to tell new stories.
Isn't that great? Oh no, I wanted you to have them.
And back at the sales out of her house, Chloe King knows she's lucky to have found something she loves, can control, and can make a living on, even while working on new writing projects once again.
I think it's a uniquely difficult time, and we'll see if there's a phoenix rising after this. I sure hope so, because there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of families that rely on this industry, and it's Hollywood. I mean, it's the dream, right? And if there's no industry, then who are we? What's our identity?
According to the governor, the state supports more than 700,000 jobs in film and TV and generates nearly $70 billion for local workers. Lawmakers still have to approve Newsom's proposal, and it could happen as early as next summer. Joining me now is the Film LA president, Paul Audley. Good morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning. I'm pleased to be with you.
So tell me your reaction when you hear this. You were saying this is no surprise to me.
It isn't a surprise. It's tragic in many ways, and probably to some degree was avoidable over the years, as California 10 years ago increased its credit and has done nothing since. The rest of the world has not only caught up but surpassed. So we have 119 jurisdictions around the world now offering incentives to take product out of LA to other parts of the world.
And, you know, there's always going to be, in a capitalist society, there's going to be a way to do it more cheaply somewhere else, maybe non-union or whatever. But do you think California has fallen short of, you know, providing incentives to have people stay here in LA?
California really has not done its job in keeping this industry here. We only allow feature films and one-hour television to be part of the tax credit program, where elsewhere they now do unscripted, they do commercials, they do game shows, they do half-hour. And other jurisdictions offer a lot more money than California has had available. And we've allowed these other jurisdictions like Georgia to build massive cast, crew, and infrastructure where 10 years ago they had nothing. And so we're competing hard now.
So what is the answer to Chloe King's question from the piece? What is our identity? Will it ever come back? Will Hollywood be Hollywood again?
Well, I think we've always seen some of these places decide that these tax credits don't make sense, where in California it's actually producing more taxes than it's giving away, an unusual situation. So yes, I think California has the chance to restore a lot of its work. It'll never go back to the full amount it was before because production has been reduced. But we have the ability in the governor's proposal to bring more work back. And it is the identity of this region. Our tourism depends on this industry too. So it's critical that we work together to get this passed.
Is it enough, the incentive the governor is offering?
Well, it's never going to be enough when Georgia offers over $1 billion with no cap, where Great Britain is offering massive credits so that almost all of our feature films are made in Great Britain now. So it's enough to change the dynamic now, hopefully to stop the losses and do some increase. But over time, we have to figure out how to compete better on the world market.
When we talk about the collateral damage and the fallout from the strikes, from COVID, from the incentives to go elsewhere, we're not just talking about actors and writers. No. We're talking about all the businesses who support them. We're talking about people who are packing up and leaving LA altogether and leaving the business altogether, right? I'm sure you've met a lot of these people.
We have, and we work closely with a lot of the vendor community. And we saw last year during the strikes some of the prop houses and others actually sell off inventory. We watched one of the major commercial costume houses closed this year because it just didn't have enough work. And so not only are these really high employing people with good wages, but they're part of the infrastructure that makes LA special for filming in. And as we lose that infrastructure underneath, we become just one of many places to film instead of the best place to film.
So let me ask you the question, were the strikes worth it?
I think that the strikes were necessary for the people that were out there. This was a critical thing nationwide. This isn't just an LA contract. This is a national contract. So they had to do something to put their wages in a way that allowed them to stay in the industry even as it was. It has had an impact on the filming in the United States in general, and in LA even more so.
Well, thank you so much for breaking it down for us. You're the most expert voice we can imagine having. You're right here on the lot. So Thanks for coming in.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.